Hey guys, it's Shan Crawford, Life Transformation Coach with Lupus, here to talk about living life unfulfilled because a lot of us deal with debilitating symptoms of lupus that can sometimes keep us from living out our passions, our dreams, our career paths, the path that we once saw for ourselves. Sometimes we feel like we can't continue on that path because of how lupus shuts us down with the things that we used to be able to do. So we give up, we defer our dreams, we hope to find something that will help our bodies heal or at least help our symptoms so we can function better, and then we'll eventually get back on that path or back on that track. But sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's what this video is about. It's about talking about how you can fulfill your life even if you don't currently have an answer or a solution to help lift your lupus symptoms or ailments. I'm trying to find the word, but you know what I'm trying to say. Challenges. Because sometimes they offer all of these different experimental trial and error type of solutions, and some are scary because we don't know like what we're putting into our bodies. Some of them work, some of them don't, some of them we don't have money for. And so sometimes we have to deal with lupus the way that we have it, just as it is, until a new medication or a new solution comes in front of us that seems plausible, that we can afford, and that actually works. So in the meantime, in order for you to feel fulfilled, you want to consider other ways to fulfill your dreams. So when I say other ways, I think I'm thinking about just another way to do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be the plan that you had in the first place, maybe to do it like part-time or at leisure instead of going full force with your dreams. So for instance, if someone wants to write a book and before you were dedicating maybe 10 hours a week to writing your book outside of your work schedule, and now you can only afford to spend 30 minutes on it a day or an hour a day, so or maybe 2 hours out of the whole week in order to make it happen. Or you can find other ways to accommodate yourself. This is something that I coach my clients a lot on, is finding ways to make it easier for you to do it for yourself so that you can do it full force, if that makes sense. So an example of that would be if you have a hard time writing because it cramps up your joints or something like that, right? And so then you could adjust by dictating your speech into the computer or into your writing tablet instead of writing, and therefore you'll still be able to do it for 10 hours a week instead of only being able to do it for 30 minutes a day because your joints are cramping up, right? So things like that is what I mean by considering other ways that you can fulfill that dream. And then on the tip of making things easier, I also coach my clients a lot on finding ways to set things up for yourself so that you can have an easier time fulfilling your dreams. So one of the things I suggest a lot is finding ways of making passive income. And so, you know, passive income is money that you make when you sleep. You set up a system and people buy from you or buy your product or whatever the case may be, and they're able to do that when you're sleeping, when you're at work, when you're not paying attention to it, and therefore you have money coming into your bank account without having to put in more work hours, and that will free up your work hour time, right? Because you can work less hours at your job, and therefore you'll have more time to do the thing that you want to do. Or for some of us, like for me, I need more rest in order to do what I need to do, because extreme fatigue is something that really affects me. That's how my lupus affects me. So the more time that I have to rest, meaning if I work less hours, I can rest, and then I can put some hours into my dream, or my work hours may be my dream, and because I've freed myself up with my passive income, I'm able to sleep and rest well, and then work full time on my dream because I'm able to rest and not kill myself working overtime hours or working a side hustle on top of my work hours, if that makes sense, right? Or like investing, so researching and finding ways and things that you can invest in that will double your money, that will give you a return on investment, so that your bank account starts to stack up without you even really having to do anything. So investing in stocks or businesses, just depending on what your money level is, you really can invest in anything for $5, honestly, and this just increase that over time. The more you invest, the more money you get back, then you have more money to put in, and then you make more money back. So that's other ways that you can find to put money into the dream that you would like to make happen, because sometimes when we have to make accommodations for ourselves, and when we have to, maybe take longer to do it, or maybe we need like an extra help in order to do it, then we have more money, which is a resource that will help us find a way to get it done, right? And then also another way that you can consider another way to fulfill that dream is to break it down to the core of what you want to do, and then consider expressing it in another form. So for instance, let's say that you wanted to be an art teacher and you wanted to teach on a full-time schedule, I don't know, at a university as a professor or something like that, right? And you just don't have the wherewithal to withstand 40 hours a week or however many hours a week that they require from you, but you still want to teach art, and that is what your passion is. So while your dream and your path may have been to be an art professor, you may be able to shift that dream into maybe creating a YouTube channel where you can teach people art and teach the same curriculum that you were going to use in your school system, in a watered down form, or whatever the case may be, on YouTube. Or maybe you can set up classes in your local community where you can do it. I would say YouTube is probably like a better option, just because you can pander to the people who are more advanced instead of just looking for people in your community. Online, you can find all the people who are at the skill level to learn from you. And that, therefore, instead of having to conform to a 40-hour-a-week schedule or 5 days a week where you're having to clock in and clock out, you can do it when you have the energy to do it, or you can record a whole bunch of videos all in bulk, or you can break up the video, do 30 minutes today, do 30 minutes tomorrow, until you finish the complete painting or the art structure that you're working on. And therefore, you'll have time to rest, you'll have time to do other things, you'll have time to tend to your body's needs as they come up as challenges for you. So that's another way that you can look into doing the thing that you really wanted to do, that you're passionate about, but it just may not be in the form that you wanted it to be in before, if that makes sense, right? So maybe you had a dream or a passion you felt you had to give up due to your lupus, but if you could get that dream back and form it into another way of expression, would you find a way to move towards that dream? despite your lupus challenges. That's what I encourage you to do if you're feeling like your life is unfulfilled due to the challenges that you have with lupus. I had a client who wrote for a passion, and like I had mentioned before in the example, this was a real client that I had whose hands cramped up and her joints and things were really painful for her, so she couldn't write anymore. And she didn't even really consider before I coached her about that example I gave you about, dictating into the computer her speech, which is something that you can do. You know, that's something that you may start off and be frustrated by because it's not normal for people to dictate all of their speech into the computer. However, once you get used to it, once the computer and you find a rhythm, it becomes really easy. You won't have to make as many errors and go back and fix these things. And for some, it's a lot even easier than actually typing or writing things down manually. So now she's able to get back to writing and able to write books again, where she really was, discouraged and feeling depressed because she wasn't able to do the thing that she loved to do anymore. So that's a good example of, finding other ways to make your dreams happen so that you can still feel fulfilled even though you have lupus. I have another client that I coached. She was able to open herself up to selling her art online because that was really all she could muster up the strength to do at this point. But she really loves to do it. She loves being at home, but however, she's struggling with making income, and she has a little bit of nervousness around if people will like her art or people will take a liking to it. But I encouraged her to try it out anyway and see if that will make her some passive income while she's working on getting disability, so she can free up some more time for herself and get some income coming in. And of course, I always encourage making passive income or making ways to get money coming into your bank account without you having to work as hard or at all. And so that you have the time to free up to do the things that you really love and that you're passionate about. Because when you do spend time doing the things during the day that you're passionate about, it really helps to lift the depression. It helps to uplift your spirit, because we definitely can be discouraged and feel down in the dumps when we are dealing with lupus. I've been there many of times, and I can attest to spending time doing what I love to do, lifting my spirits completely. Like going from having to take medicine for depression and being off depression medicine and being able to keep up my endorphins and keep my spirits up because I was putting time into doing the thing that I wanted to do. Now, I want to talk a little bit about that because I wanted to share a little bit how I came to this conclusion and my story a little bit. I won't take too much of your time. But for me personally, I have SLE lupus, and for me, the major symptom that I deal with, or the major challenge that I deal with, is extreme fatigue. So I wasn't able to work 40 hours anymore. For years, I wasn't working 40-hour weeks, which worked out for me for a while, and then it got progressive. And as I started seeing it progressing and finding it harder for me to keep up with my work hours, I decided that I wanted to build out a business with the thing that I was really passionate about, which I was doing on the side anyway. I decided that I wanted to make that my full-time job because I would be able to make the hours flexible to my needs, meaning when I needed to rest for a few days, that I would be able to do that without worrying about getting fired from a job, or without worrying about trying to keep up with going to work the next day, or coming, you know what I'm saying, like going to work and passing out, or whatever the case may be, or having to go to the ER, all of these things, we deal with lupus. So some years ago, I set out to find a way to set up a business in a way that would be flexible for me, so that I could take a week off if I needed to. I could travel if I wanted to, and I could make enough money to support myself and also the endeavors that I wanted to come as a reward for the work that I'm putting in, which for me a lot is traveling. So I'm able to do that. I'm able to move around. I'm able to take a week off. I'm able to visit family, friends, loved ones. I'm able to schedule work for when I have the most energy. I'm able to just work on things when I'm just energized, and then rest when I'm really tired or I'm really worn out. And it's the best decision that I've ever made. And that's why I encourage for people to do the same for themselves, not necessarily on the entrepreneurship tip, but carving out a new path in order for you to fulfill your dreams, because it really is fulfilling, especially when you thought that you would never be able to get your old life back, and you thought that there was no way that you would be able to get back to the life that you had, or to live out your dreams with lupus. But there is a way, and if you can just figure out the how to do it, you can make it happen for yourself. And if you can't seem to think about how you can carve your path out, that is exactly what I help people with. I coach people with lupus on how to create their own path so that they can get back to living the life of their dreams, so that they can live a more fulfilled life, and so that they can reshape and transform their life into a better quality of living. And like I said, living out your dreams despite lupus. So if that's something that you're interested in, and that's something that you think that you would like to talk to someone about, definitely reach out. I can be reached on all platforms at Beauty of Growth, and I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to helping you to reshape things so that you can get back to living your dreams like I am. And I look forward to seeing you reach those goals. So hopefully you're encouraged from this video to do so, and encouraged to reach out if this resonates with you. And if not, I hope you were able to get some value and coach yourself if that's the case. If you can think of ways that you can do it on your own, I encourage you to do so. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around for the whole video. And I will hopefully see you in another video, or I'll be working with you if you reach out. But if not, toodles. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Signing out, Shan Crawford, Life Transformation Coach.